welcome back to Shelabobby Handmade. My name is Caitlin, known just about everywhere on the internet as Shelabobby, and this is my channel where I typically talk about my knitting, crochet, cross stitch, yarn, all of that fun stuff. And this is my WIP parade. I typically try to do one of these once a year just to go through all of my WIPs, review them. I'm not a person that has a ton of WIPs. I just counted, I have 15 knitting and crochet, and then I have 2 cross stitch. So I think that's a little bit more than I typically like to have, but you will see. I will likely be finishing some of these and frogging. So let's see. Just to get started, I know that WIP parades is sometimes a introduction to someone's channel, so I want to just quickly give you a little about me if you are new, and if you are not new, then you'll just have a refresher. My name is Caitlin, and I live in the United States on the East Coast of North Carolina, like out in the ocean. And I live with my parents. I work from home for a software company, and I have chickens. I have 7 chickens. I have 7 hens, I should say. I have 7 hens and 1 rooster. I also have a little bunny named Charlie. She is adorable. She free roams in our kitchen, and yeah, I don't think there's too much about me that is super duper interesting. I am super family oriented. A lot of my things here will be for family and friends, just because I like to make things for other people. And yeah, I typically do a normal style, typical format podcast where I show you my things that I've done over a 2-week period typically. In the new year, I usually have a couple of extra videos. Sometimes I do Vlogmas. This year I didn't, but sometimes I'll put out, you know, a little crafty vlog here and there. But typically we're podcast. We're laid back. We do not worry about if our hair has knots or if, you know, there's noises in the background. We're laid back. We're just here to share our craft and to, yeah. If I keep looking over here, my phone, I use an iPhone to record, updated recently, and it has like a little yellow box around me. And it's very distracting. So if I keep looking over there, I'm sorry, I'll eventually get used to the fact that it's there. Also, if you see rainbows, this is not a glitch on my screen. I have a sun catcher in my window that my friend Evelyn made me, and it is currently putting rainbows everywhere. So if you see those, it's just a little added flair. All right, I think that is all the important things. If you have questions, just let me know. I have been crocheting since 2017, self-taught on YouTube, and I have been knitting since 2020. That was my COVID craft. I do knitting mostly, but I do crochet quite a lot. You'll see mostly blankets are my crochet project, but yeah. And then cross stitch started basically the end of 2024, so that's fairly new. And I just have the 2 projects there. Okay, I have broken this down. I have taken notes. I have broken this down into some categories. We have long-term / blankets. Most of them are blankets or blanket-sized things. These are things that I do not expect to be done super duper quick. They're long-term projects. They're going to take a while. They've been on my needle or hook for a while. That's just the category that they fit into. I've done everything in chronological order, so my oldest one will be first in each category, and my newest one will be last. I then have a UFO. I don't really know how that term works, but I think it makes sense. That is a category of things that shouldn't take forever, but are taking forever. So they've been on my hook or needle for several months and are not something that I am actively working on regularly. Then I have my active WIPs, things that I am working on actively, things that will probably be done in the next couple of weeks or months, and something that I am consistently touching and working on at least once a week. And then I have my cross stitch. That's in its own category. All right, let's get started with long-term / blankets. This first one, if you have been on my channel since the beginning, it has been a WIP for forever, and I barely touch it. I very barely look at it, think about it. I had to find it, couldn't even find it this morning, so it's a time. This is my oldest existing WIP, period. This is a blanket that I started in, I think, 2018. I don't actually know. I have it written down as 2018, and I don't know if that's when I actually started it. It is just a simple double crochet blanket. I'm going to read you off the stats before I get it out because it's pretty big to wrangle around. Just a simple double crochet. I'm going to move something because I think it is rattling and it's driving me insane. Okay. It's like reverberating with my voice and I don't want it to show up on the camera. So anyway, if you were hearing something, I'm so sorry. I've moved it. It's down there now. Okay. Back to the blanket. It is a double crochet, huge blanket. I'm using a 5mm H hook, and I'm using Yarn Bee Urban Chic in the color gray, which is a discontinued yarn. And right now, I measured it while I took it out. It is 64 wide, so the width of the blanket, and it is currently 54 inches high. So let's look at it and then let's talk about it. So it has lived in this blanket since its creation. I currently have a ball of yarn attached to it, and this is my poor little 5mm hook that has been used, friend. Like, it has my fingertips in it. So this is the yarn in, oops, I'm gonna have to probably close the window if it's gonna be like that. This is the yarn that I'm using. Like I said, it is a discontinued yarn. It is a cotton acrylic blend, if I remember correctly. It says it's a DK, or that it's a worsted, but it is most definitely closer to a DK weight yarn. And I don't have a tag in here to show you, I'm sorry. This is my blanket. It still has a lot of ends. You can see I put a marker on here the last time that I worked on it. And I didn't work on it. So it is just a giant, huge, pretty lightweight because it's, you know, double crochet. So it doesn't have, you know, a lot of, it's pretty loosely gauged. It doesn't have a lot of stiffness to it. It's fairly lightweight. Anyway, so I was thinking about it, and I have plenty of yarn. I have a box full of yarn that I bought when I saw that it was going to be discontinued. I went online and purchased everything that I could. I also went into any of the stores that are local to me, which I only have one in my town, but I think I went to one, the next closest one, and purchased everything that they had. So I have quite a bit more yarn in there, but I think this is not typically a Frogger finish. I'm a finisher, but I am going to have a frog or two in here. But I think what's going to happen is I'm going to dedicate some time to this blanket in the new year, like January, and I'm going to get it to 64 inches. So it'll be a 64 by 64 and call it quits. I was going to make it a longer blanket, you know, so that it would be a rectangle rather than a square, and use all of the yarn that I have, but I don't think I'm going to continue to work on this blanket if I have that in my mind. So I think what I will do is use the yarn that I have right here, get it to 64 inches. That's 10 inches. So, I mean, that's not a little bit of work because this is a big blanket. But I'm going to dedicate some time to this, finish it, call it quits, use the other yarn to maybe make some baby items or some donation items, and get that yarn out of here. Get this project finished. So that is the plan. So hopefully you will see this blanket in the coming podcasts as a work in progress. And we're just gonna, I mean, double crochet, that's quick. I crochet pretty quick. So I think I can sit in this, work on it. Maybe I'll make this my D&D project. So I typically have D&D on a Wednesday night, and it's 3 or 4 hours, and I don't have to do a lot of touching the computer. Like when it's my turn or whatever, I do, but I can crochet and watch, listen, and participate. So maybe I'll make this my D&D project, and it'll get done. That's the plan. D&D project. All right. Not even going to try to fold that up this time. So I'm going to leave this out. This blanket will be placed just over there in my active WIP area, and this will be my D&D blanket. We will get it done this year. It will happen. I am hoping January, February for this one. I am going to place these on the floor down here because my bed is covered with WIPs, and there are some WIPs because I pulled all these out because I need to weigh my yarn. I forgot to tell y'all, it is the 30th. Yes, it is the 30th of December, and so I need to weigh some of these projects to put into my spreadsheet to get my stats, because you'll probably see another video where I'm wearing and look the exact same, and that's because I'm also recording a stats, goals, and plans video. And so I need to weigh out that yarn so I can get my final stats for the year. One day is not going to make a big difference. So that is the plan. That's why all these are right here. So if I don't need to weigh it, like that hasn't been touched, I'm going to put it to the side so that I don't have to mess with it. And then everything else will remain on my bed so that I can weigh it and organize it, get it back into a rotation. That's how it's going to work. All right. Next blanket is not a blanket. It's a shawl. So if I have bags, I'll also tell you where they're from. I do not remember any of my progress keepers or anything like that, so I apologize. If you really want to know where something is, they're pretty old, so probably won't be available anymore, but I could tell you the maker. This is a Fat Squirrel bag. Fat Squirrel? Yes, Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. It is blue ghosty. I purchased it specifically for this project. I call this my happiness project, but it is the Fragmentation Shawl by Stephen West. I cast this on January of 2024. I very often and very typically have some sadness, some depression, some unhappy feelings in the winter time, specifically January. I am not looking forward to January because that is typically a time that is hard for me. And so I cast on this project as a way to try and bring some bright, colorful, happy things into January and help me get through that time. So I cast this on in 2024. I worked on it quite a bit, and then I just stopped. Nothing particularly wrong. I think I just wanted to work on other things. So I do need to get back into this. I'm I am planning to use this as a lap blanket or a shawl while I am playing D&D or sitting and knitting. My anthology throw that I finished this year, it folds in half and lays perfectly on my lap and is a perfect blanket. And I think this will do the same. So let me show you where I am at, and then I'll show you some of the yarn. So I have completed the first wedge, and then I am on the second wedge. So it is a shawl that the colors repeat, but you shift the colors each wedge, and then it creates a beautiful shawl. So this is not using the recommended needles. So what am I using here? This is a US 5 3.75 millimeter. All of my needles, unless stated otherwise, are ChiaoGoo, red lace, or interchangeables, or fixed circulars, various types. ChiaoGoo are my only needles. I say that. I have a needle, like I said, that I'm testing out. But most of my things are ChiaoGoo. My crochet hooks, I use various. Most of them are Clover or just things that I picked up from a craft store or just had on hand. So, sorry, I digress. Anyway, here is the shawl. So it is just a garter stitch, I-cord edging. I'm pretty happy with my little I-cord, my little I-cord corner here. But yeah, this just needs to be picked up and worked on. I am using Kelbourne Woolens Perennial. So I believe, well, that is super bright. And I mean, it is a pretty bright color. I believe that this has some alpaca in it, if I'm not mistaken. It's a very soft, very drapey yarn. I'm using 7 colors. I think that's what it calls for in the pattern. So it's Kelbourne Woolens Perennial. If you want to know any of these colors, please look on my Ravelry, or if you can't use Ravelry, just send me a message on Instagram or comment and I will let you know. There's just so many of them that I don't remember. I know this one's cornflower. Yep, that's the only one I remember. But this is my project that just hasn't been touched. I think I only maybe worked on it once this year, and added in a stripe or two, a color or two. So really need to pick this back up, but it's a long-term project. I'm not super stressed about it, and I typically only work on it during the winter months. So maybe it'll come out, but I know last year and how I'm feeling this year was I really wanted to work on blankets, like actual blankets. I started new blankets and I worked on and finished several blankets this year. So I know that that is probably where I will be landing with that. So that is this shawl. It should be worked on, but not stressed about it at all. All right, so I need to get a total for that, so I'm going to set that aside. Next is my go-go throw. Which one is my go-go throw in? This one? Maybe. This is another Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. Yes. So this is another Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. This is the larger bag. Love them. For blankets. And this is my Go-Go Throw by Amber O'Brien. I am using a Homespun House Advent from 2023. So I have quite a few of these left. I needed the bags that these came in, so I wrote the numbers on the back of the little skein labels so that I can continue to do them in order. So I have most of those in here, and then I'm using Stroll fingering in the color white for the contrast color. I have 2 balls of that in here. And I do have modifications on this. I cast on 2 more repeats than the pattern called for, and I am removing a eyelet row repeat to make the blanket, because I'm making it more of a blanket than a shawl like it is built for. So I making it shorter and wider. I think that's all the, oh, I am also doing a modified SSP. I have that linked in the Ravelry page if you're interested in that. The SSP that is described in the pattern was very, very difficult for my hands. I was having a lot of wrist pain while making this. So I looked up another way to do that, and that is how I'm doing my SSP. All right. I think that is all the details. I'm trying to find my stitch marker. There we go. So this is where I am on this blanket. If you see mistakes, no you didn't. I have made plenty in the eyelet rows and things, and I've just fudged it. It's not that serious. But yes, so this is just a chevron wrap, and I'm adding the colors in order that they were opened, with the exception is I did day 24 on the 1st, because I think that the 1st and the 24th match better than the 23rd and the 24th. So I started it with the 24th, and I'm just going through all the colors. I have the next one wound up, ready to go, and that will be the next thing that I add in. This is a blanket that I am making for my sister. It's just been put on pause to work on some other blankets. I finished my anthology throw, and I was working on, you'll see here in the next project, I'm working on a blanket for a friend, and so I wanted to get that one done, and it's pretty close. So most likely after the next project is done, this one will come back out and kind of be a focus. It's a little bit more difficult. There's a lot of counting, a lot of focus that has to be done with this particular project, so it's not something I can do. I've done it on D&D quite a bit, but it makes mistakes, and so mistakes happen and I have to fix them, so not something that I would like to do for D&D. So I will save this after I finish that project, maybe even my crochet project, get those done so I can start new ones, right? That's how it works. I think that is it on that. Yeah, I think I said I started it in January of 2025. That was one of my blanket starts. I don't have to weigh this one because I have been weighing the minis as I go and adding that to my spreadsheet. If you're wondering what I mean by weigh, I do grams in, grams out stats. And a lot of my stuff I didn't weigh, or am waiting till the project is finished to weigh it. And so some of these, because I'm going into the new year, I am doing the stash challenge with Mariah Knits. I'll have her channel linked down below. But I am doing the stash challenge with her again this year, and I want to have a little bit more accurate counts every month. So I need to get like starting stats for all of that. It is just for funsies for me. I'm not doing stash down or anything like that. It is just interesting facts to know how much I use in a year versus how much I bring in, that sort of thing. So the next blanket, and I was gonna say it's the last blanket, but it's not. The next blanket is hitting me in the face in another Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. This is my diagonal baby blanket, which is a free pattern by Snufflebean Yarn. And this is my blanket for, not my blanket, this is the blanket that I'm making for a friend. He does not wear socks or scarves or hats or accessories or anything like that. And I made my other friends in my D&D group socks and things like that. So and scarves and hats and all that. So I wanted to gift something handmade to him so that he also has something for me handmade. And so we discussed a blanket. And so I'm using 5 fingering weight yarns. He suggested grays and purples. So this is the color palette that I've pulled out. I'll tell you what those yarns are here in just a second. And I'm just doing a knitted garter corner to corner blanket. This was my first corner to corner for the blanket foray for your journey. And this is where I am at. So that is the starting corner. There's the side of it, and I am on the decreases. So I did add 2 colors, 2 stripes. I'm doing even stripes. I did 2 stripes of a color for width, so it's just slightly wider than, or taller than it is wider. And I am now decreasing, so it'll get quicker and quicker, and my hope is to get to this to him before it warms up. But he's in Wisconsin, so it'll probably stay a little bit cooler longer. So I'm keeping track of my colors, since some of them are a little bit similar, by using stitch markers down the blanket. And then I have matching stitch markers on the ball of yarn. That way I can just know which one's coming next and which one I've just worked. So colors, this brown color here is Yarnaceous Fibers in a one-of-a-kind colorway. This is Invisible String by Ruby and Roses. This is Somebody Loves You by Yarnable. This is Witch Please by Yarnable. And this is Let's Get Basted by Yarnable. So this is also a focus. I've been working on this during D&D mostly. Not in the last month or so, just because I've been working on Christmas projects, you know, Christmas gifts and things like that. But this will return as a D&D project after my crochet blanket, because we're getting that done. And then I'll ship this off to him. It's just a lightweight, you know, blanket he can throw over his shoulders, on his lap, over his bed. It's wool, so it's great. Yeah, that was started in May of 2025. So it is fairly new, but I've worked on it quite a lot. It was quite a focused project for a while. I don't need to weigh this one because I've been weighing that one regularly. So it's going to go live down there. That one will get done this year. The Go-Go Throw will get done this year. And that crochet blanket will indeed get done this year. All right. The last blanket is not in a Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. This is a new bag that I have, which is a bag by Awesome Granny. I love this bag. I needed, again, quotation marks, needed a new blanket bag so that I can house all of my blankets comfortably. And this is a new project that I started for Advent this year. This is the Crochet Jelly Roll Blanket by KF Jones. I did an Advent swap, and so I'm using up full 20-gram minis in this, and will move to my larger scraps after I complete the minis. I'm hoping to finish all of the minis in the next 2 days. I think I'm on day 19, so I should be able to. It doesn't take that long. But this is my newest blanket project. Started this December 1st. Yeah, not too much to go on this. I do have some modifications to this blanket as well, just to make it work how I wanted it to. So this is my starting edge, and it's a little bit wonky. I know that you're supposed to put a border on this blanket. I don't think I will. It's going to be a scrappy blanket. I'm not stressed about it, but all of these scraps are from that swap. And yeah, the differences that I am doing is I know that I have reduced the cast on of each stripe by 5, I think. So if you have the pattern, you'll be able to figure out how many I'm using. I am also using an odd number versus what it calls for in the pattern as an even number. And I am also not chaining 2 when I turn. I am only chaining 1. My starting chain, when I am working, instead of what it calls for in the pattern, I am doing single crochets all the way across. That just gives me a neater edge than what is called for. And I think my hook size is different. I played around with a couple different hook sizes. I am holding fingering weight double. I forgot to say that my scraps are fingering weight, but I am holding it double, which it calls for in the pattern. I'm using a, I'm assuming US 7 4.5 millimeter clover hook. So I don't remember what it's called for in the pattern, but that is what I swatched with and what I liked the fabric of with a thicker yarn. Because the first one that I had was a fairly thick yarn, and I used that as my test. That is what I'm using. And I have 4 complete stripes. And I believe the length of the blanket, because I'm going to do mine like this, the length of the blanket is going to be 60. And then I'm just going to probably make it a 60 by 60 throw. We'll see how I feel, how things are going, but I am joining as it calls for in the pattern, which is very pretty, On the back side, there are no bumps or lumps. It is just a pretty join, not difficult at all. Really enjoying this blanket. Wish I could focus on it, but I need to get those other things done. But yes, I've completed 4 stripes, and then I have done 1.5 on the next one. That is all the information on that. Like I said, I have the other yarns in here, and hopefully we'll get this done. I do not need to measure this because I need, or weigh this because I am hoping to get all of this done so that there's no in and out for the end of the year. So I'm not counting this one and gonna focus on it today and tomorrow. Yeah, so that one will go live down there. That is the end of the blanket. We are 30 minutes in. This is going to be the longest video ever. I'm so sorry. Let's take a drink break. That was loud. I'm sorry. I have some glass that I knocked. All right. UFOs. Unfinished objects. This is where I have some feelings. All right. My oldest UFO is a crochet plant. I am making this for my sister. It is supposed to be a crocheted pea pod plant. I crocheted the dirt. It is inside of a metal tin that I got from the Dollar Tree way back when. And I just need to make more of these. This is staying out, and I will be finishing this. This was started in April of 2023. I need to finish this. So I just need to make these little pea pod strands and attach them in here. None of these are actually attached. They're just kind of looped in. So I need to make many of these different lengths and attach them and give this to my sister. This is what her project is. So I really need to just finish this. I'm going to try and work on that and finish it in January. That is the plan. That is where we're going. So that needs to be weighed. The yarn is behind me. Is Kelborn Woolens. One is, I wrote it down. Let me find it. The brown is Chestnut Heather in Kelborn Woolens Scout. And the green is Moss Heather Camper, Kelborn Woolens. And then my hook that I've been using is in there. It's a teeny tiny one. So I just need to use this. So I mostly just need to weigh the green because I'm not going to be doing any more brown. So I mostly just need to weigh the green and figure out how much I use while making those. So this is a January focus. We will finish this plant. It will be done. We're not having this carry on any further. It's self-drafted, by the way. I just crocheted in the round, filled the dirt, stuffed it. I wish I had made it tighter because you can kind of see the stuffing, but I'm not going to stress about it. And the little pea pods, I looked up a couple of things online on how to make the little pearls and just changing how long the chain is and how long I do the little pearl things, and that's it. So that is getting done. We're going to finish that one. That one is done. That's no longer going to be here. All right. Oof. I can't find my bag. Here we go. All right. This one is in a Fat Squirrel bag, of course. And this is my outline tee by Jessie Made Designs. I started this in June of 2023. And I'm going to frog it. So there's nothing wrong with it. It is beautiful. I wanted it at the time, and I was going to match my sister. I made her a tank top. I made her the outline tank by Jessie Made in this exact same yarn. And I was just going to make myself a tee because I'm a little bit more comfortable in a tee rather than a tank. But it's going too long. And one, I don't know what size I made. I think it's the 1X in the pattern, but I don't know. I don't know if this size would fit me. My body has changed a lot in the time that I have cast this on, and I just don't know if I want it anymore. Excuse me. So I'm going to frog it. I'm going to reuse the yarn for something else, and maybe it be a tee for myself, or hold it double, do something. I don't know, but this will be frogged, so it will no longer be a project. I'll show you the yarn up close. So this is Malabrigo Sock in the colorway Ivy. I have 3 skeins of it, and they, you know how Malabrigo works, so they are varying shades. It doesn't want to focus on it, sorry. They are varying shades of green, varying tones, and so I have been holding them double, and I've been doing the, can't think of the word, the method where you stripe them and then you like slip the 3 stitches each round. Helical knitting? Helical knitting. I've been helical knitting these 2, and when that one was done, I was going to add in this one. But anyway, I'm going to rip these out. I'm going to find something else for this yarn and make something different. It's just not something I'm going to enjoy making, so I need to get it out of here. I did work on it some this year, but like I said, it's not something that I want anymore, so I'm not drawn to make it. So I'm going to throw this one over there because I'm going to rip that one out, put the yarn back in my stash, and find something else for it to do. Again, that is not against the pattern at all. I really enjoy both the outline tee and I've enjoyed the outline tank. And should I still want that, I have that pattern and will probably make it in the future. But again, it's a sizing thing and I'm just not wanting to make it anymore. All right. Next is my Ariana cardigan. This is by Amy Christoffers. And this one I have been working on throughout the year, but it's just a long-term, not a focus project. Make sure I got all the squares. So here are my squares for the Ariana cardigan. This is a crochet and knit project where you make individual squares, you make them into a cardigan, you combine them together, and then you knit the button band, all the edging. So your cuffs and everything are knit. So I've been working on this one. I cast this on in 2024, September of 2024. And then I took basically a year break on it. And then I've most recently gone in and have been trying to make some squares to add in there. Each of these squares are different. They have no pattern. I have a ChatGPT file where I am having it pick random colors, random things, and then I make that square with the colors. Let me get one that has all the colors in it. Stay. So this one has all of the colors. So there's a white, there's a blue, there's a coral color, and then a purple color. And they live right there. So I'm using all of these bright colors for the squares, and then I have a gray that I'm going to attach it all to, and that be the main color. It's going to combine them all, and then it's going to be the edging. This is Paintbox Yarns, Simply DK, and various colors. If you really need to know the colors, hop onto my Ravelry or ask me if you need to know, because I do not remember. Yeah, so I am going to be making, I think I'm making the larger size. I think the pattern only has 2 and I'm making the larger of them. That's the plan. I do not remember how many squares I need, but I know that I am at 41 for the completed squares. So they just live in my drawer. There are ends, but it's the last end. All the other ends of the square are complete. I just have saved the final end so that I can sew that into the darker color, the attaching color, and just have it look a little nicer. So these are my squares. They just live in a drawer, not in a project bag. I could probably put it in a project bag so that it's a little neater, but they just live in my whatchamacallit for now. I weigh the yarn each time I make a square, so I don't need to weigh that. But I'm going to leave them on my bed so that they don't get lots of hair from the floor. And they don't have a bag, so they're going to live right there. I think that's all for that one as well. Nothing crazy, just need to make a whole bunch of squares. I think it's like 90 something squares, and then I need to make like 9 triangles, half squares. And then I think there was one other square that I need to make a couple times. But anyway, we're working on that. All right, this one will be quick. In here is a fat squirrel bag, and in here is a secret project that I will not be showing you. I will show it to you when it is complete, but there's no date on when it'll be complete. I just need to do it. I started this in February of this year, and it's not done. So you'll find out later. This one I do not need to weigh, but it lives over there, so I'm going to toss it on that side of my bed so that I can put it away. All right. 2 more UFOs. In here is a whole bunch of cotton yarn from Hobby Lobby. I am making my niece K-pop Demon Hunter keychains. So I have all the colors that I need for all of the characters, which is the 5, I believe. What are they called? There's the Huntrix and the other people, the guys, the guy band. It's gone out of my mind. Anyway, I have the patterns to make all of them into little keychain chibi guys. And I have completed 2. I asked her to rank her favorite characters, and I've completed her first 2. And then this is Junie, the guy with the black hair, the main guy. Anyway, I need to just continue making these. I have the head of that one done, and I just need to make the hair and then connect it, and then continue making all the other ones. So this one's just a UFO because I am working on it slowly. I have this one already weighed, so it will go live over there. It is on the floor, but don't worry, it just lives over there. It's just halfway to where I need to put it when I'm done. All right. Last UFO. It's back here. This is a bag by the Fiber Fox. It is my suspicious bunny. This bunny has done suspicious things, and you know it. And in here is my t-shirt for my niece. So I'm making her the little ripple crop top. What is happening? My bag doesn't want to open. What is happening? Anyway, this is the little ripple crop top for my niece. I am about halfway done with the body. This is by Jessie Made Designs. I am using Jessie Made's design to make this, but my gauge is incorrect. The yarn is what's called for, but my gauge is really, really off. So I am making my own stitch counts. There's not a stitch count for the size I need to make. So I'm using hers as a base, but I am basically making it to my own specifications because I can't use the adult one because the adult one has too low of a V for her. She's only 10. And she would need the largest size if I was making it to gauge, and my gauge, I couldn't make it to that gauge because there would be big holes, and she's a child and we don't need big old holes in our clothing. So the little chicken marker is marking where I needed to do a third. So I am just knitting away. This is a bottom up tee. It's going to be cute. I just need to work on it. It's a UFO because I haven't worked on it in a while. And I just need to. That's all. I am using Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in Dusty Artichoke for this. When I finish this one, she has asked for a black one, so I will be casting on another one and making a black one for her. I started this in September of 2025. So it's not been on the needles for a very long time. It's a t-shirt, so she'll wear it more in the warmer months. So I just need to continue to work on it. And it's a UFO just because it's not an active, I'm touching it each week project. This one needs to be weighed, so I need to put it over there. All right. That is all the UFOs. Drink break. All right. Active WIPs. They are all over here. There are only 4, so do not worry. These are things that I expect to be, that are touched every week, and I expect to be done in the coming weeks or months, depending on the size of the project. So, my oldest one is my Under the Hill socks. This is a bag, a Japanese knot type bag that my friend Sarah made. Inside of it is the Under the Hill socks by Roro and Cades. And I worked on these last night, so we're gonna get these done pretty quick. The yarn that I'm using for this is Polka Dot Creek, and this is a sock set, mint, chocolate chip, caramel, and chocolate. So this had 2 minis in it. Let me get those out, show you. So these are the yarn that I'm using for it, and Kelly has a make along that she is doing, she did throughout this entire year, and she'll be doing in 2026 as well, where she does a 2-month block where she picks one of her patterns, and then we knit that sock in that 2-month block. Their prizes, I've never really entered for prizes, I don't think, or maybe I did once or twice, but typically I just like to knit along with the community. This is the one that was for November and December. The deadline was last night, so I did not make it, which is okay. There's a lot of stuff going on in November and December, so I'm not stressed about it, but I did work on this last night, and I'm hoping to get the other sock on and done by the 1st. So I have today and tomorrow. Probably won't happen, but I'm going to try. I'm going to attempt. So this is for my sister, so I have the longer leg. I am knitting, I didn't put that on there, I'm knitting the 2nd size, I believe. I'm doing the lighter brown for the cuff and the toe, and then the darker brown for the heel. It is just a beautiful lace pattern. I really, really enjoy it, and will be finishing these hopefully very soon. I think I'm a repeat from, like a half a repeat from the toe. I just was tired last night, so I didn't get to finish. But as I said, these are for my sister. I collect a bag of socks for my sister and give them to her for birthday, Christmas. If she's having a hard week, I just give her a pair of socks. Type of thing. So that'll go in her bag, because right now my gift bag, because Christmas happened, is empty. I have no gift socks ready to go, so need to work on those. But yes, this was Under the Hill socks by Roro and Cades. Hopefully we'll be done in the next week. I don't need to weigh that one, but they live over there, and so I'm throwing it over there. The next one is the garter cardigan that lives in this, which is a Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. This is a cardigan for my sister. It was supposed to be a Christmas gift, but you will see I was nowhere close to getting this for her for Christmas. This is a self-drafted cardigan. She has a store-bought cardigan that she really, really likes, and I got the measurements, and I am attempting to recreate it. So I provisionally cast on. Excuse me. So I provisionally cast on. That's what this top wire is. And then I am knitting down the back. I've done a couple short rows, not anything major, just enough to raise up the back of the neck. And I am just working in garter. I do have a little bit of a design on the edge, which is a slip stitch with some pearls on either side of that, which will make the button band and where it will connect to the front panels, and the front panels will have an I-cord bind off all the way around. The bottom will be bound off with an I-cord as well. So this is basically just a giant rectangle. The front panels, when I pick them up, is just going to be knit flat all the way down. They're going to seam to the back panel, and then I will probably pick up around the excuse me, I have a frog or something. That I will pick up around the arm holes, because the armholes land right about here on her. It's just a very oversized rectangle cardigan. And I'll pick up and do an I-cord for that as well, just to clean up that edge. But as you can see, there's not a lot that has happened. I'm using Malabrigo Rios in the colorway VA, which is VAA, and I have a large sweaters quantity right there, and so I am just picking up those and winding them. When I get past the shoulder, when I get past the armhole, I will start doing a stripe so that it will not have block colors, because I have a cardigan in Malabrigo Mecca, and it literally has like stop and start points for each color. So I'm going to blend those in a little bit, stripe them for a couple rounds, and then go in you know, with just one color, because the colors on this vary quite a bit as well. Some of them, like this one, is quite blue, and this one is quite a dark green, so we'll just have to stripe those in. This one I would like to have done. It was supposed to be done for Christmas, but I don't see that happening. It will probably become like my 30 minutes a day knitting, so that I can, you know, get a stripe or a round or two, row or two in there every day, just to keep it going. I don't need to weigh this one because I already have the weights for that. Oh no, I left my thingy out. I do that a lot. All right, the next ones are my Christmas socks, which are inside this bag that does not have a tag, so I cannot tell you the maker. But inside are what I'm calling my Christmas socks. This is the exception to the rule on my knitting needles. These socks are for myself. I intended them to be what I work on during this Twixmas, but that's not gonna happen. So they're just plain vanilla socks for myself, but these are on new needles that I am trying out. This is Brick House Fiber Arts, and they are USA made knitting needles. They are quite expensive, but I'm giving them a try, and we'll give a review when I finish these socks to let you know how I like them. I am using Hinkston Handmade. Sorry, the tag is folded a little bit funky. In the colorway Christmas at the Cabin, in the Matchy Match skeins. So they came in 2 50-gram skeins. And I am still in the first sock, of course. I don't know why it doesn't want to focus on the yarn skeins today. Here we go. So this is just a vanilla pair of socks, and I have a random brown mini from my stash that I'm using for the cuff and probably toes. No, cuff and heel. Toes will be stripy. Maybe. We'll see. Haven't got that far in thinking. Yeah, those will be done. I just need to work on them. Just vanilla socks. Nothing fancy. Nothing special. These are already weighed, so I don't need to weigh those. And my last active WIP before my cross stitch. This is a cottontail fiber bag. And in here is a scarf. My nephew asked for several hand knit items for Christmas, including a fingered pair of gloves, socks, and a scarf. And the scarf did not make it for Christmas. So this is a self-drafted pattern, nothing fancy. I am using US 7 4.5 millimeter needles, and I'm holding fingering weight double. This is an undyed cone that I have. I wound off 2 150-gram skeins, holding it double, and knitting it at a pretty loose gauge. So this is a circular needle, so I'm knitting it in the round. I did a Judy's Magic Cast On, I think it is. The magic cast on that you do for socks. So I did that on the bottom, and then I've just knit in the round, and I'm continuing to knit in the round and in the round and in the round until I get to, I think, 60 to 70 inches. So it goes pretty quick. It's just something that I need to focus on, basically, to get it done. So I want to get this done in January or February so that he could have it during the colder months here, but we will see. He knows it's on the way. He knows I am working on it, and it has been my 30-minute project and what I've brought around for Christmas activities to knit on while talking to family and things like that. So this one is already weighed, but it lives over there, so I'm gonna put it over there. All right, last two things is my cross stitch. So I have two that are going. One is in a bag. This is a bag by Sheba Designs that I'm keeping my Heaven and Earth Designs SAL from 2025. So this year's SAL, I did not make it for any entering in for prizes or anything like that. Here's a picture of what this will look like. It is Innocent Dreams by L&L Designs, and I don't remember my fabric count. I think it's 25. Maybe it's 25. I think it's 25 count, and I am doing 1/1 tent stitch. So I'm doing one leg of the cross. I have not worked on this since maybe mid-year, so it needs a little bit of attention. I just recently got a new tablet, and so I'm going to be switching over from markup into Pattern Keeper. So I have that on my list to do hopefully this week, where I can have that into Pattern Keeper and, you know, have all of my stitches that I've worked on. So this is where I am on it. So this is page 1, and I mean, that's a lot of stitches. I think the total stitches that this project has is 80,000, and I think this is close to 4,000 that I've done. Anyway, it's a big project, but it's adorable, and I want to hang it on my wall. When it is done, I'm going to get it professionally framed, and I'm going to hang it up on my wall when it is done. Not too much to say about this one. It is cute. There's a lot of mistakes because I am fairly new to cross stitch and fairly new to this technique, and fairly new to full coverage. Also, this is the only full coverage I have ever worked on. So anyway, that is where I am on this one. I hope to get it out this year and work on it some, especially in the new app, and just see how it goes. So it lives in here to keep it nice and safe because it is not something that I am actively working on. And I'm going to set it down here because it lives over here. And yes, that is on hold, but I do have an active cross stitch that I am working on. This is the Holiday House, which was a stitch along by Satsuma Street. And I think I'm working on clue 2. All the clues are out. Here's a picture of what it will look like. It's not a huge design. It's not a full coverage. It's just, it has a lot of stitches, I guess. But I am actively working on this one, and hopefully we'll work on this a little bit today and tomorrow because I want to finish my book, and I listen to audiobook while I am working on this one. So I want to finish my book so that I have my 10 books for the year done, and I have like, I think 2.5 hours left on the book. So I will dedicate some time for this today and tomorrow so that I can get that book done and get a little bit more done on the cross stitch. Obviously this one was not going to be done for Christmas. I knew that, but maybe it will be done for next Christmas where I can frame it and we can hang it up in the excuse me, the living room. So it's just a cute, I'll give you another close-up of it, just a cute little winter house. I know Santa's on the top of it, so we'll be working on this one. Like I said, this one's my active cross stitch. So it will get some work. That is all my WIPs. So 15 total WIPs, but I am going to be frogging one, so down to 14 total knit and crochet. There's a couple of things I want to focus on, and I hope you will join me for the following year. And see what we get done, what we work on. I have some fun plans. If you haven't already, I don't know which one's going to be released first, whether this one's going to be released first and then the stats and goals one will be released next, but I'm going to be talking about plans. So keep a lookout for that video if it's not already out, or if it is out, go watch that to find out what I have plans for this year. I am very excited for the coming year and what we are going to make and share and talk about and all that fun stuff. So thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I have a goal to get to 1,000 subscribers this year. So if you haven't subscribed, it will mean the absolute world to me if you would hit that subscribe button. It is absolutely free and it will bring a smile to my face. Also, please consider giving it a like if you're already subscribed, or even if you're not, please give it a thumbs up so that the internet algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, knows that you enjoyed my content and will suggest more content for you. And why not leave me a comment? What were you working on while watching this video? How many WIPs do you have? Do you care? Is it a lot? Is it more? Is it less? I don't care. But how many do you have? What are you working on? I'm excited. All right, before I ramble too much, I will go ahead and end this video. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Bye.